Our Seaside Band. Lynn's back with us. Welcome back. We missed you. Yes. Good. Good morning. I invite you to come on in and take a seat. We're going to get ready to begin here this morning. Welcome. You all set your clocks forward. You're here on time. We'll see who shows up in an hour from now. My name is Reverend Debbie McDonald, and I have some announcements for you this morning. But before I begin, I want to just take a moment to introduce the practitioner that's holding the light for us this morning. Practitioner Carolyn Holder. Carolyn is a longtime Seaside practitioner. She's been with us. Her and her husband Ray are both practitioners here at Seaside. Our practitioners always hold the high watch for us during service on Wednesday and Sunday. You can receive live prayer from a practitioner. It is our joy to pray with you. Please do not leave here with anything on your heart. Just go to the side doors here to the chapel and connect with the practitioner after service, and you'll receive a prayer. Or you can write a written prayer request. Put it in the prayer request chest in the back corner there where Carolyn is sitting, and those are distributed confidentially to our practitioners. And the prayers are prayed for a few weeks for you, so you have that option as well. So today is actually International Women's Day. Yeah, pretty good. The theme this year is Make It Happen. So who knows? It's been forever, International Women's Day. I didn't know, but today is the day. Today we also have our wellness support group going on. Dr. Christina Tillotson, she'll tell you a little bit more about it, but she meets today with the wellness support group in the Quimby room, which is down the hall off of the foyer, and that is right after service. If you are hungry, stick around. Cafe on Lake is here today with their famous street tacos. It's their specialty that we love. They have them in chicken and carnitas and black bean today for you vegetarians, and you get all the trimmings, homemade guacamole, and all of that for just $7. You can't beat it. So stick around for lunch and hang out. We've got lots of events going on afterwards. As I mentioned, we have the wellness support group. On Thursday evening this week at 5:30, there's a congregant care ministry meeting. I invite anyone who's interested in congregant care to please come and join us. It is one of the ministries that I am chairing, and we are getting it up and running and expanding. We are wanting to move beyond Sundays with our congregant care and beyond hospital visits. We're wanting to be able to support you and all of the congregation in every walk of life. And so we're looking at programs and implementing programs that can do that. So join us Thursday night at 5:30 here in the Rose Room, which is right behind the stage here. New members, Sunday is coming up. We do it twice a year. If you've been thinking that, I've been coming to Seaside for a while, check out this membership thing. Or if you're brand new, you can also check it out. It is, the class will be on the 22nd. New member class is here with Dr. Christian and all the ministers. And then the following Sunday, the 29th, everyone goes out to lunch for the new members for friendship and fellowship. There's an application in your program today. If you want to fill it out, you can just put it in the box as it's passed around, in the baskets as they're passed around, or you can just bring it back to the office at a time that works for you. We have Tuesday meditation here. For some reason, Tuesdays become meditation day here at Seaside. We have Trudy, one of our practitioners, who does a meditation in the morning from 9 to 10. It's a 1-hour meditation, takes you deep. Do some chair yoga along with it, some guided imagery, and that happens in the Rose Room from 9 to 10. And then at noon, you can meditate with Dr. Christian and the entire Seaside staff. We meditate from 12 to 12:30 on Tuesdays. And then we have a new chanting meditation on Tuesday evenings at 6 o'clock, and that is also in the Rose Room. That is meditating, chanting you. And so that is on 6 o'clock. We also have a new young adults ministry. If you have a 20 or 30-something in your life, or you are a 20, 30-something, please attend our new ministry, our newest ministry, the young adults ministry. They're having their first gathering. It is Friday the 27th. They're meeting at Wine Steels in Cardiff. They're meeting just to get to know each other, and they're going to be sharing the various qualities of life, qualities of God that are showing up in your life. So join our young adults. We're starting out with 3 beautiful young women who are are heading up that ministry, so come join them. Come join them. Another thing that's happening around Seaside is our bookstore is expanding. Catch the Spirit bookstore, yes. We have got some exciting things underway, and we're looking for new team members to join us. So if you've thought, hey, it might be fun to work in the bookstore, we're asking for just one Sunday a month, or maybe even every other month, depending on how many volunteers that we have come together to help support our bookstore. So please see me after service. I'll be in the family room, and just let me know you're interested in being part of the bookstore team. We'd love to have you. Wednesday evenings, Reverend Lori Mack and myself share the Wednesday evening Going Within service. This Wednesday evening, Reverend Lori Mack will be here. Her talk title is I Allow. So that begins at 7 o'clock. If you're looking for a place to plug in midweek, go a little bit deeper and get centered. That's Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock. Last but not least, classes, education. It's the end of our winter quarter, but this month we have like 4 classes happening, even though it's the end of the quarter. Our spring classes will be starting in April. We have this Friday night Sufi dancing with Reverend Lori Mack. Now, if you don't know, Reverend Lori Mack was a professional dancer for many, many years before she became a minister, and Sufi dancing is one of her passions. They'll be doing all sorts of dancing, but one of the dances will be Sufi dancing. So that is Friday night here at 7 o'clock. Come and be part of that. Another one of our beautiful congregants is trained in nonviolent communication. She's a certified trainer. Next Sunday, she is having a class on Sunday afternoon, Language from the Heart. It's on nonviolent communication. The Jill Badonsky is having her improv workshop the following Sunday, and the Sunday after that, Sharon De Leon is doing her visioning board workshop. So please sign up in the family room for any of those classes. We have a very new class, first time ever offered here at Seaside, beginning tomorrow evening. The facilitator is Sarah Miller, I wanted to say Mills, Sarah Miller, who is the daughter-in-law of Reverend Tammy Mars. So I'm going to invite Sarah to come on the stage right now and tell us about her class.
Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Tammy Mars, and I am very, very honored because I have this special daughter-in-law, Sarah Miller. And you know how the children these days are coming in with this automatic ability to work with technology and iPhones, and we all have to lean on them to get some help here these days. Well, what's also coming through are some very connected individuals, and Sarah is definitely one of them. She has a real innate ability to connect to that higher guidance and that higher wisdom, has helped lots of people get the answers that they're looking for. And all of us have that ability, and Sarah's going to come forth and share a class with us starting tomorrow night for 4 weeks, and will be assisting us to heighten our intuition, to tap into our guidance. So I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that, but please come join us.
Thanks, Tammy. So I'm really excited. Thank you for having me. My class starts this Monday, tomorrow, and here's a little bit about what it's about. Connecting to Higher Self is a 4-week journey in which we explore how current paradigms and beliefs are being reawakened to their divine birthright. We will discuss the shift that is occurring right now on our planet and how we can choose to align with an intention to connect to the aspects of our multidimensional self. We will reawaken these aspects of our consciousness through guided meditations, conscious breathing techniques, open discussion, and focused awareness. We will learn how to channel these aspects of our energy into our everyday lives, creating a steady stream of guidance readily available to assist us on our path. When we awaken these portions of our consciousness, we truly emerge as our I Am presence. So join us. Thank you.
So treat yourself and join Sarah tomorrow evening. The books are available in the bookstore for her class, so you pick them up today. And band, do we have something going on?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, I think we have some saints. What? No? Ready? Here's our board members to tell you about the Mardi Gras.
We've got our fabulous Mardi Gras party coming this Saturday night. We're going to have a blast. We've got the Bayou Brothers. They play all kinds of music. We've got the crawfish broil, crawfish races, and lots of good times. So we need you to get your tickets. We have the table in the back and would love to have you all there for this Saturday night's party. Valerie?
And if you notice the banners on the wall in the sanctuary, how beautiful they are. It's absolutely amazing. We just want to thank all of our artists and everyone that participated in doing those. Those are just fabulous. And they will be auctioned off at the party, so please come and take one of those beautiful ones home and put it in your house. So thank you.
Right. Thank you. Let's see y'all at the Mardi Gras.
So as they are marching out, would you please stand and greet your neighbor, and please remain standing for the congregational song. Thank you.
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for the congregational song. All right, come on. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain. I've got love like a mountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Come on, Bob. Yeah. That's Bob playing for you on that saxophone. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Yeah.
Job, Rebecca. Woo. Thank you. Hey, good morning, Seaside. Oh, what a joy it is to be with you. It feels like there is something alive in the sanctuary this morning. Could be the extra hour of daylight we're going to get starting this afternoon instead of this morning. Yeah, you like that? There's aliveness. Could be the creativity. We are in the midst of 40 days of creativity. Are you enjoying that book we gave you? You know, if you didn't get one, you can get it PDF off our website, no cost. Grab it. And you can see what's creating the magic. I mean, the banners are spectacular. Those went up there this week. We are definitely in the midst of creativity. We have a Mardi Gras going on Saturday night. Today's the last opportunity for you to get that ticket so they can order that Cajun food for you. It's fun at Seaside for sure. And if you came in through the foyer, you can see a most magnificent artistic expression, this wave wall that's going to carry everybody's name that contributed for the roofs and the bonds for Seaside. But it's just a magnificent artistic project that Greg Newton and Lynn Adams have been creating. They've got 7 days into it, and make sure you take a peek. It's not done, but you'll see where it's going. But anyway, there's life, there's newness. The creativity is definitely where it's at this month at Seaside, and we never forget that it's spirit first. Creativity is about creating an avenue and a vehicle through which God can express in our life in a new way. And so we put spirit first, and a wonderful practitioner that we have with us today is Brian Atkins, going to take us to a little bit deeper level. Brian.
Please join me in the stillness. And I know that God is all there is. And I know that God is right here, right this very moment, right here at Seaside, expressing itself through each and every one of us. God is that all-loving, all-caring source of divinity and inspiration that permeates everything and everyone. And I know that we are all one with God. We are one with this source of love and caring and compassion. Like the colors of the rainbow, each and every one of us is a part of that divine expression, closer than us to our breath. That is where God is. And I give thanks in advance in knowing that this service here at Seaside today is divinely guided. That as the words flow forth from Dr. Christian Sorensen's lips, each of us is touched. Each of us receives a shift. Each of us is inspired and receives new insights. And we, in turn, take that out into the world and spread it on to others. And consciousness expands throughout the world. And so I simply turn this time over to the hands of God and know that it is perfect. And so it is.
God is real. God is magnificent. God is light. God is love. I am real. I am magnificent. I am light. I am love. We are real. We are magnificent. We are light. We are love.
Wow. Thank you, Rebecca Jade and Lynn Willard, for praying us in so beautifully with music, and practitioner Brian Atkins for praying us in so sacredly with words. Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Reverend Christina Tillotson. It's my honor to welcome you today, especially if you're here for the first time. Thank you so much for coming to our community where we truly support each other and celebrate our accomplishments and support each other in our challenges. And thank you so much for being here on this beautiful, amazing first day of daylight saving time. My favorite time of the year, except for Christmas, of course. And I just got my tree down last week, and so in preparation for my second favorite time of the year, which is daylight saving time. So thank you so much for being here. This place of creativity, you feel all this creative energy and this love and this laughter. This is what we're about. We're about expressing that light and that love and that wisdom of spirit through this life right here and now. So no matter what path you are on or what path you might not be on, thank you so much for being here to celebrate the light and the love of spirit within with us today. We're part of a greater organization called Centers for Spiritual Living in Golden, Colorado, whose mission is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence for a world that works for everyone. So if that aligns with you, then you're in the right place. In our whole worldwide movement and this sacred place of Seaside, where we teach this philosophy and faith of this and called the science of mind that takes all of the world's great wisdom, whether it's spirituality or science or psychology or philosophy, and puts it together in a philosophy called the science of mind that not only enhances your life, but truly contributes to making a world for everyone. So thank you so much for being here. We have a special packet for you in the back if you're new to celebrate the fact that you're here with all kinds of goodies for the bookstore. So thank you so much for being here. And we're in our 40 days of creativity, and about a year and a half ago, out of people's requests, we created a wellness support group that meets the second Sunday of the month in the Quimby Room. Today we'll meet to celebrate each other's wellness in spiritual and physical and mental health, and also to support each other in our challenges. And we're also going to see what wants to be created next for this group. So please join us at around 12:30. Get your lunch first, then come join us if you so choose. So the reading I've chosen for today, because of the 40 days of creativity, is from one of my favorite books, 7,000 Ways to Listen by Martin Poe. Reverend Debbie told me to tell you that there are some in the bookstore. And this is what he says. Sooner or later, Teilhard de Chardin declares, we shall have to acknowledge that love is the fundamental impulse of life. Artists and dancers know this at some level and search for it through their creations. As the legendary dancer Martha Graham said to the other legendary dancer Agnes de Mille in 1943, it is your business to keep the channel open. Out of such transparency of the human heart, things of value are created, and we are created. Such openness requires two ongoing devotions: the risk to be, to slow to the pace of creation where all things join, and the courage not just to let through whatever comes up, but to sing it through. The courage to voice what we experience, the way a coyote howls out of the visceral joy of being a living thread in this living tapestry. God is an infinite secret hiding in the open, waiting for each of us to slow enough to inhabit our aliveness through our bareness of being. When we can do so, we become conduits of spirit, continually converging towards the ultimate unity. This is how life forms begin and continue. Energy moves through particles, bringing them together, but it's the mysterious openness of the particle that enables the chain of life to assemble. And what is the human heart, if not the most mysterious and transparent particle of being known to humankind? So let's take these words into prayer. feeling into that creative energy of the universe that I call God, and it doesn't matter what it's called, but is that power and that presence of the universe that continually creates galaxies and atoms and animals and people and things and oceans and all of the 10,000 things the Taoists say out of itself. There is only that divine presence, that divine creative energy that continues creating every single millisecond of every sacred day. And that is who I am right here and right now, and that is who each one here is. A perfect expression of that light and that love and that creativity of spirit creating each life out of that light and love and wisdom of spirit. And so I'm knowing for this sacred time together that light and that love and that creativity of spirit just churns forth and explodes into each life, allowing it to go forth not only into this sacred community of Seaside, but out into this community of Encinitas and out into this country, into this world, knowing that this sacred time together is a time that not only enhances each life, but truly, truly, truly contributes to creating a world that works for everyone. And for this time together, for this creativity, for this light, for this love, this wisdom that is the truth of this sacred time together right now, I'm so, so grateful as I release this word to the law, knowing that it is now done in perfect joy and love and wisdom and creativity. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning, Seaside. It is my honor to introduce our guest artists for today. 27 years as partners in life and on stage. They're here to share their music with us today. If you're moved by their music, they have a table. You can see them afterward. They also have a concert on April 10th in Escondido. So if you're curious as to where and when, what time, and all that information, please see them afterwards. So without further ado, let's give it up for Kale and Deline.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Oh, so good to see you all.
Good to be back. So we're going to kick it off with I think I'm muted. There we go. God's telling me to shut up and sing, just like the Dixie Chicks. Okay, so we're going to kick it into high gear with one of our songs called What Have You Got to Give? One. Look inside you, what do you see? A gift you've got to give the world to set it free. Listen to you now, hear what you say. You're asking just what have I got to give away? Well, maybe it's a new invention or a book that just won't wait. All your good intention won't put it on the plate. So what have you got to give? What have you got to give? What have you got to give? What have you got to give?
Look all around you. What do you see? A world in need of so much love from you and me. Listen to yourself. What's your excuse? You say one man can change the world, so what's the use? What about Mother Teresa or John F. Kennedy? Or what about Mahatma Gandhi? Now how about you and me? Ooh, yeah. Look above you. What do do you know? Heaven at our fingertips, the world needs to be sure.
So listen deeply now to that inner voice. Rise up to the calling now, it's your choice. 'Cause maybe you will be the person to set that prisoner straight upon the path to truth and freedom. Come on, don't make him wait.
What have you got to give?
What have you got to give? What have you got to give? What have you got to give? And are you positive that you got something real good to give now? Look inside yourself, reach into your soul, and you'll find you've got something great to give the world right now. What have you got to give now?
Thank you. That is Cahill and Darlene. Oh my. That is the perfect song for this morning. What do you have to give now? Because this morning it's about adding value. And that's really a deep question. You know, what do I have to give now? That's where the value is that we're looking for, not a value from the outside, but what do I have inside of me to give? And so the inspiration for this morning's title for the message comes from Jim Rohn, who is a wonderful motivational inspirer that inspired a lot of the early motivational speakers. And he said, if you want to increase abundance in your life, the key is to figure out what value you can bring to the marketplace, what greater value you can bring to the marketplace. That's the key. If you can bring some greater value, you are going to experience a greater reward. Not, I wish it was better, but how can I be better? Not, oh, I wish it wasn't so difficult, but how can I be better? How can I be that place that delivers greater value? And so as you begin to work on bringing greater value to whatever it is you're doing, it takes time. But you don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you bring, that extra value, and the market and the world will compensate you for that for which you have to bring. And so you don't sit around and say, oh, this isn't fair, I'm not being compensated. What you say is, what can I do that is greater? What can I do now, as the song said? And so as we embark upon this wonderful expression of creativity, and I look at these divine expressions, I am just amazed. I had no idea we had that kind of talent and gifts in our sitting amongst us. But yet, look at the gifts and the value that they bring to all of us by sharing their passion, by sharing their talent. And as we begin to take a look, what is it that I can bring? There's a shift that takes place. Not what can I get from this world, but what value can I add to the situation begins to open up the floodgates, begins to open up that wonderful flow of spirit. It's not like, oh, some people have more willpower than others to deliver. No, it's some people are willing to change more than others. There's some individuals that are willing to be a little different in their life and in their world to be of greater value to whatever is important to their heart and their soul and their spirit. Not sit back and say, oh, this isn't fair. No, what can I do here? See, you are the point of transformation. You are the delivery point of the infinite potential. And there is a lot waiting to be delivered. And so your question is, what can I do now? I love that. What greater value can I bring? Tony Robbins, I was talking from his book earlier in the year about money, but he shared 3 powerful steps. He said the first is strategy, the second is story, and the third is your stance or your, I made up stance, but statement, how you feel about things. And so strategy. If you don't have a strategy, what he says, the very simplest, quickest way is take a look at somebody who's exhibiting that which you desire to bring forth. Watch them, mentor them. Not someone who says they can do it, but someone who has a track record of longevity of expressing that which you wish to value. Talk to them if you can or read about them and learn that kind of way. Too often what I see is people, they go to their friend for relationship issues and they can't seem to hold a relationship together themselves. And they're giving the mentoring advice to their friend, or they go to someone to assist them with abundance. And these individuals, bless their heart, they're happy, but abundance is not necessarily their expression. And so take a look at someone who's exhibiting that and begin to mentor that in your life and create a strategy, because without a strategy, you fail. With a strategy, and if you fail, It's because you need to change your story. See, the story is based upon that time which you failed because, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, life doesn't support me, or whatever that failure story is. So I get a new strategy and all of a sudden I'm holding on to my old story. I mean, have you ever delivered the gems and the gifts to somebody and they say, this isn't going to work for me? You know anybody like that? Yes. It's like, here are the spiritual principles, guys. Well, I don't know about my world. It's too big. Well, there is no large or small here. What you need to do is divorce yourself from that story that doesn't support your magnificence, that doesn't support you for bringing this greater value into the world, and get engaged, man, with that new picture, with that new story. Now, it's tough to get a new story if you're not in a good place. You've got a bad stance, bad statement, bad attitude, right? If you're feeling miserable, it's hard to say, isn't life beautiful? It doesn't go over very well. I mean, you ever been upset with anybody? And whenever you think about them, it just brings up agitation and you remember everything they did you wrong and everything just irks you? That's what it's like when you don't have the right stance. But if you've fallen in love, fallen head over heels for somebody, everything is beautiful. Babies cry, isn't that cute? Clerks are jerks, I understand. It's just, and so as you get that attitude or that stance right, and your story in alignment, then the strategy falls in a good place and it assists you to bring greater value to your life and your world. I mean, those are just some mechanics that can work for you. Vince Lombardi, great football coach, the Super Bowl trophy named after, he said the guy on the mountaintop didn't just fall there. It takes some work to hone your value, to be able again to create greater value. It takes some time so you can bring that to what is near and dear and essential and important to your heart. But what I want to share you is not what you're going to find from any of these motivational speakers. It's the piece that's a little bit different when you come to a spiritual center, is that we bring the God part into this. I've given you the mechanics on this is how you can, create greater wealth by adding value. That's the key to greater success. But Joel Goldsmith, a writer I love, I read him at least once a week for the last 25, 30 years, and I don't miss. He's absolute, he's powerful, and it's just the spiritual truth. And what I want to share with you is just really a key component to the integration of the mechanics, but of spirit. He said many spiritual students believe that if they can just change a sick body into a well body, unemployment into employment, a bad person into a good person, that is spiritual demonstration. Please believe me, those are not demonstrations. These are the effects of demonstration. The demonstration is that the awareness of God's presence, it's that deep breath, it is that click or that sense of release. That's the demonstration. And so when you achieve that, health, employment, supply, home, and companionship, whatever is necessary automatically follows because these are the added things. So in the message of the infinite way, or in religious science or spirituality, we'll find that we cannot demonstrate a person, place, or thing or condition. What we can demonstrate only is the presence of God, the activity of God in us, the realization of God. And when we achieve that, demonstrations of all things are added unto our life and to our world. And so that, for me, is where the difference is. We're so often trying to get the stuff. I'm going to add value so I can get the stuff. No, I'm going to add value because I want to bring a greater expression of the divine. I'm going to work on knowing that divine presence. And in that vibrational experience of the divine, there cannot help be those health, the vitality. I'm not an employment agency, but you come to me and I'll be in that presence of God, and there will be that match. Spirit knows how to do things. It created all of this. I don't need to tell it, this is what you need to do. What I need to do is open my heart. I need to throw my heart open and allow the love of God to fill me up. So that is what oozes forth from me when I'm squeezed. What I do when I prepare my talks, I realize that if I'm coming from my head as I'm putting this morning together, it'll get into your minds. I've got to come from the heart if I wanted to go a little deeper than just that intellectual kind of stuff of words. We've got to begin to operate in our life from that heart, from that soul, from that spiritual place. And then the blessings of Spirit begins to show up in ways that are wonderful and magical and divine. All of a sudden, the grace of God begins to take place in our world. All of a sudden, that grace begins to show up like coincidence or luck. I don't care what you call it, but all of a sudden, when you're coming from the place that I got this value to add, I've got something I still want to contribute, then your motive is in the right place, and motive does matter. Yeah. But it doesn't exclude you from being a recipient of the wealth that comes from that greater value that you're bringing to the life through your creative expression. See, creativity becomes that means in which Spirit can show up in your life in a way it hasn't showed up yet. And it takes guts to be creative. It takes a willingness to move out to a place that you have yet to be. Because I'll tell you what, the world's moving fast and it's moving forward. Have you noticed that? There's no going back. We just cannot put the genie back in the box. We can't eliminate billions of people off the planet. But what is unfolding is great new ingenuity. There is genius that is showing up through creative expressions, and people are bringing new value to the marketplace. It usually looks like technology. And as technology shows up, you got people say, ah! At least I speak for myself. But I recognize, it moves faster. Things used to be considered in the ages. You had the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, Now it's boom, like that. Back in Queen Elizabeth I, 1600s, somebody invented the knitting machine, and she refused to patent it because she was afraid her poor subjects would be out of work. The issue is not trying to hold on to old jobs. The issue is creating new jobs, creating new places for the Spirit to show up in a creative way, and bringing value to bringing the best that you've got to whatever it is you're doing is what moves you forward. We're no longer knitting by hand anymore. We have got wonderful garments. The world is moving forward, and it is the technology that is going to assist us to move from where we are to where it is we want to be. But there's people who lock in with the doomsday approach that isn't this terrible, and that becomes their story. Their mind is fixated on what doesn't work, and they become a crier of what doesn't work. The carbon monoxide in the air, the poor running out of fresh water, our farming. Those stories are many, but I'll tell you what, it is the technology that is going to move us to that next level when there are individuals who are willing to bring the value that is moving through them to the table. I just read in our local coastal newspaper that Carlsbad is building a desalination plant. Have you seen that? Here it is, it's supposed to be the largest one in Southern California. I don't know, it could be all of California for what I know. And by the end of this year, it's going to be pumping into Lake Hodges 50 million gallons of fresh water a day. It's pretty exciting. And so what I believe is that the newest innovations that come from individuals willing to bring the next level of value and creative expression to the table is what is going to take us beyond the story of the challenges that are out there. We've got to be willing to be open and not hold on to the old story. I got to knit 7 billion people's pants by hand. There are issues on the human level, and there are answers on the spiritual level. And it is forever seeking expression through those that are open and receptive and that are willing to let go of their old story and divorce from that and say, you know what, Spirit is showing up new. That is its creative expression. And I get to be used by Spirit. Isn't that exciting? How is it going to show up in this way? There was this man who had a heart attack. He was shopping in the mall. There's a story I heard. And he went unconscious. They brought in the paramedics. They rushed him to the hospital. They did emergency open heart surgery. They saved his life. And when he started to recover and come to, he awoke. He found himself in a Catholic hospital, and sitting next to his bed was a nun. And she had all his paperwork because obviously he couldn't fill it out on the way in. And she, first thing with the forms, bunch of forms, how are you going to pay for all this? Do you have insurance? He's just coming to, voice is raspy. He said, no, I don't have insurance. She says, well, do you have money in a bank account? And he goes, no, I don't have a bank account. She says, do you have family that is going to help you with this medical bill? Getting a little irritated with him. And he said, no, I don't have any family other than a spinster sister, and she's a nun. To which that nun got very agitated and said, nuns are not spinsters. They are married to God. And he said, that's perfect. Give my brother-in-law my bill. Yeah. There's answers, I'm telling you. You gotta not be attached. There is something that stirs in our soul, even if it doesn't look like things are good, right there in our life. But even under the asphalt, the soil dreams of the grass. It dreams of the grass as come through. Within our heart and our soul, there's something, and there are individuals who are around who are going to try to keep you small by bringing up those doubts, by bringing up those old stories. But if you want to bring value to where you haven't brought value in this way before, you've got to be creative enough, gutsy enough, and willing enough to step out there and say, okay, Spirit, use me. I am willing to be different here, but I got to tell you, you've got to be careful not to be arrogant about it. Hello, that's right. Spirituality creates some arrogance among some of us. That's like you roll our eyes. Are you kidding me? You don't understand that yet? Everybody can process, whatever that story is that we're laying on somebody, all of a sudden that kind of arrogance closes down creativity. It closes down newness. It closes down a welcoming environment because all of a sudden you're cold. Man, it's a cold shoulder and you shut down. I want nothing to do with it. And what happens with this arrogance is there's a flip. Boom. You actually end up being on the, I don't know if the lower end of that conversation, but you're not in that high ground anymore. You're like, things have flipped. There's a story of a small Bible Belt town that was dry, which means that they just didn't have alcohol there. And there was this entrepreneurial businessman who decided he was going to build a tavern. What a great spot for a tavern, a town with no alcohol. So he built his tavern, and just before it opened, one of the churches gathered all the churches around for an all-night prayer session, and they prayed for God's intervention. And it just so happened after the meeting broke up, about a half hour afterwards, lightning bolt came from the heavens and boom, hit that tavern, and it burned to the ground. The businessman was so upset, he decided to sue the people of the church for their prayer work. To which people at church got their attorney to sue them and said they had nothing to do with that. And as the judge reviewed the case for the first time, he said to both sides, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but one thing is clear. It's the owner of the tavern that believes in prayer, and the people of the church don't. It's interesting how things can begin to just flip so quickly in our life when we give up our attachment to being that place where Spirit can show up in a new and creative way. And it does that by bringing some added value that hasn't been brought to the dynamic before. And with that value comes the remuneration, comes that compensation, comes the flow back into life and into your world. And it comes in a way that may catch you by surprise, but it will also come in our life with sometimes some dynamics that go with it. Things don't always just flow. There are sometimes challenges that come with it. And Tom Crum, I don't know if you ever heard him speak, but he's an Aikido master who does the seminars out there and shows about how the martial arts. And he says, the question isn't, are there going to be difficulties? It's how you handle them that makes the difference. You see, as soon as difficulty shows up, what tends to happen is we anoint it. Boom, you're a problem. You are so important in my life. I am now going to think about you, fight with you, struggle with you, empower you, and allow you to be my new story. No, there's something that came up. Like you just move over, you just deal with what is there. You don't make it more of what it is not. Because I'll tell you, if you're going for things on a grand scale or on a big scale, you're going to run into difficulties. You're going to run into disappointments. You're going to run into dynamics. That's just what happens when you decide to play big. No one's out to get you. What you are called to do is bring greater value to that situation. And the way you do that is you get quiet and go back to that God place and say, God, get rid of this jerk. No, God, how can I bring your presence here? Remember that? That was what I was reading you earlier. Not how do I get rid of this person? How can I bring your presence here that is the best for the highest for everyone concerned? And as you begin to do that, what happens is that there's revelations, there's insights, there's new ways that reveal itself. You're familiar with the story. It's from the 8th chapter of John. And it is about the woman who was caught and taken in adultery. And which has got to be embarrassing. I mean, just, that's an interesting visual. You're caught, busted, and brought before the Pharisees. And the Pharisees are that obsessed group that are real tight with the minutia of the Mosaic law. And it says that those two that are caught in adultery are to be put to death through stoning. Other than in that time, in that era, and that, men were just of a higher stature, so he was let scot-free. And there was the woman standing before this crowd, and the Pharisees saying, I'm going to catch Jesus with this one. Okay, we're going to say to this guy, you know what? If you condemn her to death with stoning, which is what the law says, then you're probably going to create a riot outside of the Roman walls. They're going to think of insurgents, and you're in big trouble. That would be good. Or if you deny the law, that's not good for you either. So they figured they got the guy trapped either way. But what happened here, or the story goes, is that Jesus went down and he wrote something in the sand with his hand. Doesn't say what. If I were to guess, it's probably the names of the guys in the crowd who kind of were not so faithful themselves. And he said, those of you without sin, go ahead. Cast that first stone. And they all backed off, to which he said, so do you have any to condemn you? He says, no, I don't. He says, I can't condemn you either. Go. See, what happened there is rather than getting trapped into the either or, you got to do this or you got to do that. It's got to be this way or it's got to be that way. Opened his heart. Allowed the love to fill his heart, that God presence, and it began to be a higher way that emerged. When we can get out of getting caught in thinking it has to be a particular way, what happens is we get caught in the story in that limitation. Marianne Williamson says if you want to move outside of your limiting circumstances, you've got to have unlimited thoughts. When I get outside those limiting circumstances, you've got to have unlimited thoughts. That's how you do that. And those unlimited thoughts will bring a new value to that situation that you would not have thought of from your intellectual approach, but you have chosen to be creative and to be used because you have chosen to know the presence of God in all situations. Roger Teal, from his new book, I mentioned it last week, it's called This Life is Joy. He tells this fun story of a pilot. And his plane had been in the hangar all winter long. It was probably a day like today. It was the first day that was blue skies, exciting. He had, the mechanic check out his engine, make sure it was good. He drove up on this gorgeous morning to his hangar and got out of his car and checked, around the plane and jumped in seat, started the engine, beautiful, taxied down the runway. It sounded perfect, looked good, pulled on the stick, the plane went up. And as he was climbing, he was looking around, everything's just perfect. What a gorgeous day. And then as he was flying, he started to notice that there was less responsiveness in his stick. It started to just not be as strong. It was jerking a little bit, and his head started to panic. And he started thinking, oh no, my plane has been hangared all winter. Maybe some rodents crawled up there into the tail, which I didn't check out the tail, and they're on there now gnawing away at the control cable from the stick to the rudder, and if they gnaw through that, that's the end of me. This plane will crash. There's nothing I can do. And with that, he got an inspiration. See, that's the creativity. Moving beyond, he got this inspiration. He pulled back on his stick, and he climbed as high as he could with his plane until his plane started sputtering out from lack of oxygen. He started getting dizzy, hypoxia, and so he leveled it off and decided to come back, and it started to work. It worked fine, and so he brought it back, landed it gently, perfectly, brought it back into the hangar, and he opened up the back, and sure enough, 3 rats or mice had crawled up into the tail, and there was one that had been gnawing away on that until he gained altitude and got higher up, and they died from lack of oxygen that saved his life. The reason I share this story is I like the moral. Is that if you want to get rid of the rats that are chewing on your control cables, you've got to climb higher. You know? Are you the one who is willing to climb higher? Or do you want to stay chained, like ball and chain, to the old story? You know, you cannot help in this life but to accumulate a lot of opportunities for forgiveness in this world. You know, we bump into individuals as we're doing this thing called life, and forgiveness is probably the quickest approach to neutralizing what is going on there. Because if you're the one who holds on to the pain that is there, you're the one who's got the ball and chain. You're the one who's reliving that story, rehashing it in your head, looking for evidence to validate why this is not good, why this person did you wrong. And you are the one who remains stuck in the very place that you don't want to be. But do you want to bring a higher consciousness and let go of those rats that are nibbling at the control cables of your mind? You are the one who has to go higher. You are the one who has to decide, you know what? I am going to just begin to bring the presence of God into this situation and stop telling God what it needs to do to make it right. I don't need this particular job or this particular person or this particular connection. What I need is the presence of God, and with that there comes these greater ahas that will take you higher, that will take you to that greater place that allows you to be a conduit for something greater to come forth into life. See, this teaching at Seaside, religious science, the new thought, it's not about bringing a new teaching, you know? It's about encouraging us to have the experience of the presence of God. You know, it's not the lectures, it's not the writings, it's not the classes. Those are instruments to guide us to take the time to experience that presence of God and to be creative enough to bring forth the new idea, the greater value. That is the answer to wherever we are at this point in our life. And where we are doesn't need to be called a problem, doesn't need to be called a difficulty. It's just that dance that we're doing right now, and that's where we are with who it is or what it is and what's going on. And it's that higher consciousness and attitude that allows the love of God to show up in your life. And when you're presented evidence, say, oh, this person is adulterous or bad. It's not either this or that. There's a greater answer. It's the love of God filling your heart. So that's what you come from. It's warm, it's joy, it's fun, it's God, it's exciting, it's laughter. So why doesn't everybody get it? I'm not trying to come from that arrogance I was talking about. I'm going to pull out a proverb story, the sowing the seeds. The ones that fall on rock, there's nothing for them to take hold of. They cannot grow. There's no soil. But the ones that fall on the fertile soil grow. That's why we take the time to meditate, to pray, to do our spiritual work, to apply spiritual principles when we come to a hiccup in our life, in our world. And the more time that we take, whether it's daily, twice a day, all day, once a week, the more you have that soil for the divine ideas to find root in your life and your work. So when you come to those moments in your life, and if you're playing on a grand scale and on a big scale, you will get those moments. It's not a bad thing. It's just called doing life. And when you can bring the spirituality, when you can bring the presence of God, when you can be the deliverer and add value, the rewards from that are phenomenal. And so I want you to know, as I stand in your presence today, I just see your value. I see who you are. And I'm so blessed by what it is you bring. You're so valuable to me. God bless you for sharing that. right, let's keep it going as we bring Barry and Darlene back to our stage.
So life is not, oh, thank you very much. Life is not always rosy, we know that. But we do have a choice every single moment of our day. Every single day we have a choice to choose this or that. You know, that guy that we get on the freeway and that guy cuts us off and we're really, really irked, you know. We can just take a deep breath and say, I choose love instead. So that's what this song is about. It's a song from Sean Galloway. He's from a singer-songwriter from Nashville. I just love this song. I can see laughter, or I can see tears. I see a choice, love or fear. What do you choose? I can see peace, or I can see war. I can see sunshine, or I can see a storm. What do you choose? Now I choose to love with freedom flying from my heart where the light keeps shining. I choose to feel the whole world crying for the strength that we can rise above. I choose love. I choose love. I can see sharing, or I can see greed. I can see caring, or poverty. So what do you choose? I can see gardens, or I can see bones. I can see life or death coming on strong. So what do you choose? Now I choose